Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever the hell you may be. Thanks for being here. Good to have you here. I am John, the Blood Angels Commander, or more recently, the Bland Astartes Commander. And today we're going to be talking, not about that, we're going to be talking about Blood Angels army lists. Welcome to the weekly show. We do this every Sunday night, about 8 PM. If you would like to get your list on a future show, drop it in the comments of this stream, or drop it in a message to me if you are a member on Patreon. That's probably the quickest way to do it. If you are a channel member, then you will get priority in the queue, because the 07 means this. Like the 0, I guess the head, and the 7, right? We salute you, Smash Captain. Thanks for being here. I'm going to open my... Oh, my window is open. Warm day in Scotland today, actually. I might put a fan on before we get started. 1 second. I'll be sitting here sweating the whole video. If you can hear that fan and it's disturbing, please let me know. Okay, so we're going to be diving into like 8 army lists. Hopefully, should be something interesting. You were too scared to... Yeah, it just means salute. I don't know where it came from. But everybody uses it now. I guess we're Space Marines. Do we salute? I'm trying to think, like, I have watched a bunch of, like, Warhammer Plus, and I've played the video games, but I can honestly say I do not remember ever seeing a Space Marine salute another Space Marine. Is that a thing? Do we do that? Anyway, right, army lists. I think I covered all introduction stuff. There is going to be a break for a couple of weeks in July from the army list show because I'm going on holiday, but for now, we're getting into it. This is the second week using the new, yeah, they do the chest salute, right? Like this sort of thing, like, they don't salute like traditionally. Yeah, the fist bump on the chest, correct. Yeah, so I don't know why we salute, but apparently in here we do salute. I think it just means, it's like saying hi. If you like the stream at any point, or you get some value out of the stream as well, I'd appreciate if you could drop me a like. Yeah, so Emerald Paladin, he is up first tonight. Let me just check, everything looks good. Yeah. I was hoping you could take a look at a list. It's got 14 drops. There was some discussion about drops this week. Drops just means unique units that you can drop onto the battlefield. You could also say 14 units, but 14 drops kind of means the same thing. I know Land Raider isn't a particularly hot pick, but my ranged anti-tank is limited. I also don't have any impulsors, and my Blade Guard do need a ride. I've been toying with the idea of making room for a Brutalis for some target saturation. What do we think? Okay, so we have a Jump Captain with a Fist and a Plasma Pistol. We have Jump Captain with a Relic Blade and a Plasma Pistol and Speed of the Primarch. He's with Sanguinary Guard, I guess probably 3 of them. We have a Lieutenant with Mastercrafted Power Weapon, Bolt Gun, Speed of the Primarch. Hold on. You can't have 2 with Speed of the Primarch. I think that might be a mistake. You should use the GW app for making your lists. It's free if you use it. If you only make one list, it's free, and it breaks everything down, and you wouldn't get mistakes, simple mistakes like that, I think. We've got Librarian in Terminator armor with combi weapon, and we've got the Tech Marine. I personally prefer taking the Chaplain with the Librarian, because I think the Chaplain is just more reliable. Sustained hits is cool, but I think +1 to wound with all those power fists from the Terminators is more meaningful than the sustained. Personal opinion. I have also had some games where I took Librarian thinking, oh, this will be good, and it was terrible. I think it'll be like, when I took it, I had to fight like a Land Raider, and you're only wounding on 5, so the extra sustained hits get cancelled out by the fact you get really shitty wound rolls, right? You've got a unit of Heavy Intercessors and a unit of Intercessors, 5 of which are in the Land Raider. Evening Pound. You've got 6 Blade Guard also in the Land Raider, and you've got 5 Terminators Deep Striking. Yeah, I think if the Terminators are deep striking, then you're rapid ingressing them, so you're probably getting to go offensive with them. So I think you take the Chaplain, honestly. I mean, I think the Librarian is the same points as the Chaplain. I just think the Chaplain is better. You got 2 units of Plasma Inceptors. This is Liberator Assault Group, yeah. 3 units of Jump Intercessors, 2 units of Sanguinary Guard, a Ballistus, and a Land Raider. Yeah, so interesting, I suppose. We've kept the points costs on vehicles kind of low. We've kept the points costs on characters kind of low. We've got some sticky objective guys. We've got some heavy intercessors we can stick on objective. We've got 2 small units of Plasma Inceptors we can try and be annoying with. We've got Blade Guard and Terminators we can try and do some damage with. We've got 2 Sanguinary Guard. In the 3s, there's like little jump skirmishing units. We've got Tech Marine. I guess you can hang out with Land Raider. You can Lone Operative. You can do stuff like that. The Lieutenant. I think the Lieutenant. I'm just going to say, for argument's sake, the Lieutenant doesn't have Speed of the Primarch. It's with the fight for Sanguinary Guard, right? The Lieutenant with the Blade Guard gives them lethal hits, fall back and shoot, fall back and charge. I mean, that's kind of nice. Again, you could argue the Chaplain with the Blade Guard is just more useful because Strength 7 plus 1 to wound is going to be very good into a lot of enemies. I mean, lethals are not bad. Fall back and shoot is irrelevant because they've got like 5 bolt pistols, but fall back and charge is pretty good, right? 14 units. There is no scouts in this list. There is no lone operative lieutenant in the list. There is no infiltrators in the list. So we're going to try and do like some sticky objectives with intercessors. They're going to try and do actions, obviously. I suppose Inceptors could potentially do actions for a turn. Jump Intercessors could do actions for a turn. This list is a little bit off meta, I would say, for sure. I don't think anything in the list is necessarily horrible or bad. I just don't really have any experience playing it. And like you mentioned, the Land Raider is not the most competitive pick. Sometimes it is fine, but into some armies it can be a bit of a liability because it doesn't have an invuln save. And Terminators aren't often seen as a super highly competitive unit. I think they're maybe just a little bit too expensive. I think plus 1 to wound is always better than sustained. Well, the Librarian Terminator actually gives them sustained in shooting and in melee. So on paper it looks really good, Calgar. But in reality, you're probably not going to roll any 6s when you shoot your crack missiles anyway, because you only get 2 shots, so it'll do very little. And then those guys don't have tons of attacks. They only have 20 attacks. So realistically, you're only going to roll like 3 and a bit 6s. So I think plus 1 to wound is just better. Like on paper, the Librarian looks good. In reality, like I played the Librarian and was super underwhelmed with them. And the first thing I thought after playing him was like, I should have just taken a Chaplain. And the thing about the Chaplain in Terminator Armor as well, he actually gives you feel no pain against mortal wounds, which I think is actually really good. He gives the unit just as a 4-up against mortal wounds. So when your enemy tries to tank shock you, you just half the damage that they bring at you, you know. So yes, I mean, the one downside of the Chaplain is his Croziers is only AP1, but I mean, you're not taking him for the Croziers, right? You're taking him for the permanent plus 1 to wound, the 4-up against mortals. I mean, he's going to do something, right? So that's the simple change, I think. Yeah, in the future, you said you don't have any impulsors, you probably need to buy an impulsor. A Land Raider is the same price as an impulsor and a gladiator tank together, so you probably want to buy both. Just so you know, if you buy a gladiator tank, you can magnetize it as an impulsor, right? Like, you can basically... The gladiator tank comes with all the pieces for the impulsor. If you don't glue the sort of turret section, you can actually just pick that turret section off and you have an impulsor underneath. So rather than buy an Impulsor, you should just buy 2 Gladiator tanks. 2 Gladiator tanks are probably going to be pretty useful in the future. I've got 2. I think that's where the future is going to go, especially if Predator tanks get Legends, especially if Vindicator tanks get Legends. And then if you need Impulsors, well, if you've bought the Gladiator, as long as you don't glue the back section, you just use a couple of magnets, you potentially have, 2 Impulsors as well. So that's where I would go with that, I think. I get taking a Land Raider. It's not the worst thing in the world. It can be useful with a Tech Marine. It can be useful for jump infantry to go inside it, right? Sangre Guard plus a character can go inside pretty nicely. And it can also be pretty good on Overwatch, just because it gets quite a lot of high strength firepower on Overwatch. Like, it has enough shots in Overwatch where you're going to roll a couple of 6s, I feel like. Because what you get, like 3 heavy bolter shots, 2 multi-melta shots, is it? 4 las cannon shots, and then a couple of storm bolters or something like that. So I mean, it's getting like 12 shots. So in Overwatch, it's probably gonna make a couple of hits. So it'll definitely kill a couple of or maybe not definitely, but can kill a couple of models. Is an Executioner, a Gladiator, and an Impulsor in one? Yes, but also the Executioner is a bit, for me, a bit weird, right? Because it's like, it's got a long-range 72-inch cannon, but it's also a transport. So do you need to keep it 72 inches away, or do you want to drive it up close? I feel like we don't see a lot of Executioners. Well, we definitely don't see many in Blood Angels. But, I mean, I've tried to play them a couple of times, and I think the Gladiator Lancer is just better, and it's cheaper. Evening, Jason. How you doing? Pound, I am sorry you have had a terrible day. I hope it's not child-related, because it's Father's Day, but yeah, I hope you're feeling better. I've got your list to review shortly. Mario says, hey John, I'm going to a big tournament. My first one, do you think 2 Lancers and 5 Stern Guard veterans with a captain are enough shooting? 2 Lancers and 5 Stern Guard. I mean, it's a little bit light, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, right? Like, I was about to run a list this week with 2 Lancers. Typically I've recently been doing 3 vehicles in Liberator Assault Group. But with the points drops, I was thinking maybe I could do 2 vehicles because I can flood the board with more infantry. I don't know, 2 or 3. Stern Guard shooting in Blood Angels is not that great, right? Like, you got to shoot with the moment target. How many shots you getting? Even if you're within rapid fire, you're getting like 15 shots. I mean, I guess they do like 4 or 5 devastating wounds. It's fine. I ran an Executioner this week, Calgar, in Blood Angels or in Ultramarines? I think I always prefer taking a Lancer and an Impulsor, because the Impulsor gets in people's faces and they feel like they have to deal with it because it's sitting on an objective, or it's tank shocking, or it's just protecting units. I really actually like how the lone operative guy can jump back inside the Impulsor, right? Alright, next list. I'm just going to say Nogu because I've got no idea how to say this name. The idea is to use small squads to pick engagements and score points. The Brutalis is a distraction which draws fire. The Gladiators try to take big targets down. The Inceptors are more of a precision tool. I'm trying to drop them close to elite infantry I can't deal with in melee, like fight first units. Okay, so Liberator Assault Group. 14 units again. Dante, a captain with a jump pack, a Judiciar, and the combat weapon lieutenant, and the Impulsor. 6 Blade Guard, a Brutalis Dreadnought, 2 Gladiator Lancers, 6 Inceptors, a squad of Infiltrators, Sangre Guard, 9 of them in 3 small squads. I guess, based on the characters he's got, one of the squads is just unled. A squad of Scouts, 2 squads of Vanguard Veterans with Storm Shields. I mean, the Sergeant was a bolt pistol. Yeah, change that. Like, give the sergeant an infernal pistol or a storm shield. I think it's probably fine to just have 4 storm shields in the unit. That's how I put mine in, because it was like, well, when 4 guys are dead, you're probably just losing the last guy anyway, so why not just give the last guy an infernal pistol, right? So we've got the 2 jump Vanguard vets, we've got the 3 small squads of Sanguinary Guard, we've got the scouts, we've got infiltrators. Our shooting in this case is 2 lancers and 6 inceptors, which is definitely probably going to be enough. We've got Brutalis in there. I've played the Brutalis twice now. I don't know if I feel like it's worth 160 points. I must admit. In the list that I'm playing it in, I'm putting it in a Storm Raven. I'm literally dropping it out of the Storm Raven 6 inches away from the enemy or less, and then just charging. So I'm almost guaranteed my charge. I'm almost guaranteed that I can't be shot beforehand. And I'm still not sure it's worth it. It doesn't seem to produce huge amounts of damage. The mortal wounds are nice. It doesn't have a ton of survivability. I mean, you keep your Ballistus Dreadnoughts quite far back, right? So that you can try and outrange opponents, because they, even with their 2-up save, T10, they do die fairly quickly. So yeah, I'm struggling to think that the Brutalis Dreadnought is worth it, right? Like, I guess if you just compare them side by side with 6 Blade Guard, probably the Blade Guard do a lot more damage in Blood Angels than a Brutalis Dreadnought. Maybe the Blade Guard are easier for your opponent to shift, but they can also be hidden, and they can also advance and charge, and they can also move through terrain, right? I ran an Executioner for a game this week, and it one-shotted a Void Dragon. Well, yeah, I mean, every unit has the potential to one-shot something, right? Like, I one-shot... I can't remember what I rolled a double 6 for the Las Cannon with the Ballistus Dreadnought and did like 14 damage. Good evening, VT. Good evening, Dizzy. Just putting the Brutalis in the Raven is a mistake. It's the Republic Executioner problem against it. Encourage recklessness with the Raven when it should be sniping. Well, I mean, I've got other stuff that's sniping in with the Raven, and I actually hold the Brutalis till later in the game, right? But yeah, I'm not sure I like the Brutalis. I've played it twice. I don't know if I feel like it's worth 160 points. Yeah, I don't know. So for Liberator Assault Group threats, then we've got 2 Vanguard vets. We've got the 3 Sanguinary Guard. We've got 6 Blade Guard. I feel like, and we've got 1 Impulsor. We've got a Combi Weapon Lieutenant. We've got the Fight First Blade Guard. I feel like this is not too bad. I feel like it's probably not what I would normally run. Interesting that we went with 2 squads of Vanverts over the Jump Intercessors. I guess we're going for survivability now, right? You could also take 10 Jump Intercessors for 160 points. Now, I think if I had to choose, I'd take 10 Jump Intercessors. Because I think the 10 Jump Intercessors do the same number of mortal wounds, right? When they charge. And then they have a crap load of attacks. I guess the Brutalis is maybe useful for killing some targets. Maybe like Terminators. But I guess if you're fighting Death Guard Terminators, he's super inefficient. I don't know. What do chat think? Do chat still like does anyone in chat? Has anyone in chat actually played a Brutalis Dreadnought a lot? The Brutalis is anti-tank, anti-elite, not anti-chaff. Yeah, I mean, he does a bit. Yeah, my Dreadnought got bogged down with Jackals. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't help, right? Good afternoon and happy Father's Day. I've never submitted a list here. Is there someone can give a quick guide? Yeah, when the stream ends, just put your list into the comment section, Nathan. If you have a green name, i.e. you're a channel member or you're a member over on Patreon, you'll get priority on future shows. That's how it works. Yeah, I've played it twice. It's killed stuff both times. I'm yet to see the Brutalis Dreadnought like wade in, do a ton of killing, survive a counterpunch, and then do a ton of killing again. It just doesn't seem to happen. Every time he comes in, he maybe kills one thing, then he just gets bogged down or he just gets killed. I keep struggling. I'll keep trying, but yeah, I feel like that's the weakest thing I have in this list. Like, you know, there's like we have no Death Company in this list. Like, would I prefer 5 Death Company with jump packs now at the new points cost over the Brutalis Dreadnought? Probably. I don't really know what I could do with extra points that I have in this list, but yeah, I mean, when I was building a Liberator Assault Group list this week, I was looking at Jump Intercessors, Vanguard Vet, Sangre Guard, Death Company, Blade Guard. The Brutalis doesn't really enter the conversation, right? The Brutalis is there maybe to soak up some fire. Yeah, but I mean, it's not great at soaking up fire. It's just, it's got no invuln save. I feel like Impulsors are honestly better than a Brutalis Dreadnought to soak up fire because at least they have that 5-up invuln and they can sometimes spike their save, right? I don't feel the Brutalis has a very spikeable save. You're not going to want to play Armor of Contempt on it now. It only lasts for 1 activation. So you're just hoping that it's in cover. And then you're just crossing your fingers behind your back and hoping that you roll some good stuff. I played it once, but I'd rapid it to make it work. Yeah, I think the weakest thing in this list is the Brutalis Dreadnought. I think for 160 points, you could easily change a few things around here, right? For like, you know, let's say you change this guy to a chaplain and you change that to 10 jump intercessors. Now you've got a squad of 11 guys that are probably going to do 7 or 8 mortals on the charge. They're charging at strength 6 with +1 to wound. They get 50 attacks. Yes, it's only 1 damage attacks, but it is 50 of them. Or 49, I guess, if one guy's got a power fist, you know. I feel like 49 1 damage attacks at strength 6 with +1 to wound is always going to be better than the Brutalis Dreadnought. Right? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to keep playing the Brutalis Dreadnought because I'm playing a Storm Raven and a Storm Raven can literally carry a Dreadnought and I don't have a better Dreadnought to put in it. But if you're just walking the Brutalis across the board, I don't like that because I feel like it's got no survivability. And it often underwhelms in combat for my life as well. Or at least every time I run it, it seems like it underwhelms. Brewing Biscuits. The Brutalis is like a distraction Carnifex. It does some nice damage. Yeah, I don't know if it's a big enough distraction. Maybe. When John Lennon plays his Stormlands, he puts a Ballistus in the Storm Raven. Oh, interesting. How does he... And then he uses the Storm Raven to snipe with the Ballist... Like, he unloads the Ballistus and then just snipes? I've never actually tried to do this, but I assume that the Dreadnought can walk back inside if it wants to. Not that it ever really would, but it can. Alright, Pound, we're looking at you next. You've had a bad day, so try not to be too harsh on your list. No, I'm joking. Alright, we're playing Inheritors. Mephiston, Dante, Sanguinor, an Overwatch captain, another captain, and a lieutenant with the combi weapon. Alright, interesting. So, quite a lot of spend on characters there, actually. Dante's come down, Mephiston's come down, but yeah, still quite a lot of spend. 380. So like 640 on characters. You got Centurion Devastators. I do like Centurion Devastators. We don't see them very often, but they are powerful. For the avoidance of doubt, Centurion Devastators hit on 3s with their twin las cannons. You get 3 twin las cannons on the shot. If the opponents are on an objective, you reroll all hits. Otherwise, you reroll 1s. So you get 3 very reliable twin las cannons, and then you get, I think on average it would be 6 missiles at strength 9 minus 1d3 damage. So these guys actually get a decent amount of firepower. They're somewhat okay in melee as well, with their strength 5 minus 1/2 damage as well. We've got the Plasma Inceptors, we've got Infiltrators, we've got 3 units of Sandguard, we've got Scouts, we've got 2 Bile Predators, we've got 2 Gladiator Lancers. Okay, this is a very different Inheritors list, and we haven't actually seen... I don't think we've seen this in Inheritors, right? Where, like... To get the most out of Inheritors, you actually need to have like 900 points of shooting, right? Like, so you've got 270 up here. Add on the 320 you've got there, so you've got like plus the 2 Bile Predators. So you're probably on like 850 points of shooting. So you probably actually have somewhere around the right numbers of points on shooting. I think you do want to have the Plasmas in a 6 in Inheritors, though. And the reason you think you want the Plasmas in the 6 is because they get the most value out of that sustained hit strat, right? So I think if this was me, I think I would be swapping out one of the Bile Predators for 6 Plasmas. Because I think that's what you need to make this list. I think that's what you need in Inheritors to really soften up targets, right? You want to shoot the Oath target with the Plasmas. That means rerolling hits. It means rerolling wounds. And it means you can sustained hits those guys as well and then lift them back up, right? Lamarter says drop 1 Predator for the 6-man. Yeah, I think that's what I'm suggesting. The three squads of Sangre Guard, all attached to characters is good. Mephiston and the Sanguinar and the Lone Operative Lieutenant with the Come Back to Life probably feels like one too many Lone Ops. Like, I do not know if you need quite as many Lone Operatives here. The Sanguinar, yes. The Combi Weapon Lieutenant, yes. I'm actually not convinced you need Come Back to Life on him unless you feel like you really do. I feel like it comes down to, if you've played him a few times, you will get to a point where you actually don't necessarily feel you need to Come Back to Life. Come Back to Life is basically for, like, I fucked up. I need this character to come back alive. Because, like, I must have played that character, like, 15 times, and then I took him to the tournament, and I think the only times he died in the tournament was because I was dumb. And a lot of the games he lingered around until the end of the game, right? Like, so yeah, I think I would probably keep the Lieutenant and the Sanguinar. If you want to keep the Come Back to Life, that's fine. I think you might need one more squad, though, right? Like, the thing I think I'm most worried about is, like, potentially Terminators. So I think if you get rid of or elite infantry of that kind, I think if you get rid of 1 Bile Predator and take the 6 Inceptors, that helps a lot. Zombie, thank you so much for subscribing. But I think I'd probably lose Mephiston and find something else that's more worthwhile for 125 points. I mean, or we just lose Mephiston and, yeah, do you know what? Maybe it's just simpler than that. We just lose Mephiston and just make those Plasma Inceptors a 6. Like, maybe that's the play. Because you've got Infiltrators for your home field, which you've called vegetables. Oh, right, they're yeah, we talked about this in the stream. They are the like, you know when you have a meal and you just have to eat the vegetables, and you don't necessarily want to eat the vegetables, but you have to eat the vegetables because you want to live and be healthy and shit like that? That's what Infiltrators are. It's like, you want to secure your home field. You want to not have to worry about it. So the Infiltrators are the 100 points of vegetables that we have to leave on the home field objective to screen out the backfield and make the backfield safe. So we're doing that anyway, and our Combi Weapon Lieutenant can be on the other objective, like our natural expansion. So, and the Inceptors can come down in a 6 and blow shit off the table, right? So yeah, I think Mephiston for me is get rid of him, get the Inceptors. I haven't really seen too many people play double Ball Predator and double Lancer. That's not a combination that comes up in Angelic Inheritors, but I think if you're trying to avoid doing double Vindicator, I think it's certainly worth trying. I thought you meant vegetables because they don't move. I did sort of take that the first time I read it. I was like, they are just vegetables, like they are just sitting on objective, not doing anything, right? But yeah, okay, yeah, that's not what we're talking about. But I can get why you're saying that. Yesterday, a small local tournament, Brutalis was part of an Iron Storm Spearhead. That dread list ended up first place. So what do I know? Apparently nothing. But I don't play Iron Storm. Vindicators are still really good. I mean, Vindicators are still really good. I just don't want to buy any more of them because I don't want to. Because I don't want them. I don't want to spend my money on models that are going to go Legends. I think a lot of people are in that situation as well. If you're kit bashing them, you have to ask the tournament organizer, I think. But yeah, I'm kind of off Vindicators. I get like I've played at 2 different tournaments this edition with Vindicators, and the tournament that I won, I had 2 Predator Destructors and a Ballistus Dreadnought, and I had more fun with that. I enjoyed that more. I didn't feel like it was a swingy mess, which is what Vindicators can turn into. But yeah, I think one of the core principles of Angelic Inheritors being strong is 6 Inceptors. So if you do not have 6 Inceptors, and you like the core principle of Angelic Inheritors being strong is the 6 Inceptors and the double Vindicator. So I think the 2 Lancers and the 2 Bowls will replace the double Vindicator probably. Maybe not quite as efficiently, but I feel like probably less swingy as well. But I think you do need the 6 Inceptors. And I think you need the threat of being able to drop down that Inceptor unit and blow a unit away. 3 Inceptors are not going to blow an enemy unit away. You know, like if they've got 10 cultists on the home field objective, then statistically that unit will never wipe the whole unit. You need the Inceptors to be able to wipe units. And the way you do that is you take 6 of them, because that gives you 12 shots, which you can give sustained, and you can get full rerolls to hit. And you're twin linked, so your wound rolling is very reliable, and you can obviously drop them within 6, so they're hard to screen. I think the Inceptors are one of the key parts. So I would focus down on that pound. You literally just said in chat my 3 Inceptors flopped. Exactly, yeah, you need them in a 6. You absolutely need them in a 6. I think it's one of the core. It's like one of the core principles of Angelic Inheritors being good. We were talking about this a little bit last night on the hobby stream, where people were saying like, "Oh, Blood Angels are fine on the win rate. Art of War gave them like a Art of War put them in S tier." And I was like, yeah, I think that's a bit unfair because their win rate is 43%. Sure, if you take like double Vindicator and 6 Inceptors and like whatever other nonsense they were running at the Art of War table, which is like professional players playing 40k to the highest level, yeah, then sure they're pretty powerful. But the thing is, your average player is not playing that. And I think that's possibly the problem with Angelic Inheritors, is that, like, the pros can play that detachment to a very, very high level. But your average player, going to average tournaments where there's like nonsense, isn't able to do that, right? Like, the tournament I was just at, I had to play a World Eaters player that had 3 Forge Fiends and 3 Hellbrutes. You know? Like, I don't know if you've played against 3 Forge Fiends and 3 Hellbrutes, but that shit is honestly, like, the most unfun Warhammer ever. It's so stupid. Like, the Forge Fiends are just rerolling everything. Fucking strength 10, -3, 3 damage. They're just blowing up entire squads of Sangre Guard every time they shoot. He's got 3 of them. And then the Hellbrutes, well, they're just coming in and they're killing anything that they charge. And if they kill something, then they're daisy chaining into other things and they're just killing, you know. They've got that stupid rule where they can fight infinitely as long as you hit them back. So if you don't kill them in combat, they are fighting you again and killing you again over and over and over, right? I just, you know, like, Art of War aren't dealing with that. Average Blood Angels players are dealing with that cheese, and honestly, like, I need to break that game down on the channel, but yeah, honestly, it was such a close game, right? Like, it's you know, that's what your average Blood Angels player is dealing with. I honestly probably never want to play against 3 Hellbrutes and 3 Forge Fiends again. They're just far too efficient at killing Marines, it feels like. Anyway, I digress. Alright, Gordon RS is our next list. Gordon says, "Hi, I'm fairly new to the hobby. I decided to start with Blood Angels. Your videos have been a massive help. I have been playing 1k games, but I've nearly got this 2k list painted, ready to play my first tournament in about a month. It would be great to get your feedback." Alright, 15 drops. Here we go. Apothecary Biologist. We don't see him very often these days. He's leading Heavy Intercessors. A Captain with a Jump Pack. A Chaplain leading Blade Guard. A Judiciar leading Blade Guard. A Lieutenant with a Combi Weapon. A Tech Marine. 2,000 points. Okay. Heavy Intercessors. Assault Intercessors. Assault Intercessors. Blade Guard. Blade Guard. Incursors, Infiltrators, Sangre Guard, Sangre Guard. So the Sangre Guard are probably led by one of the Jump Captains, and that's probably it. One's probably unled. The Blade Guard are led by the Chaplain and the Judiciar. The Heavy Intercessors, which we definitely don't see much, and I don't think an Apothecary Biologist is worth 70 points these days, honestly. He gives a unit lethal hits, but not much else, right? Yeah, like, he's going to give that unit lethal hits. I mean, sure, lethal hits is nice. Is it worth 70 points on a Heavy Intercessor unit? I don't think so. You're getting 10 or 11 strength 5 bolter shots, essentially. So you're going to get, like, 1 or 2 lethal hits every turn. I don't think that's worth it for 70 points. Heavy Intercessors aren't actually going to kill stuff in melee, so you're very rarely going to get this OC bonus. He doesn't do anything else, though, right? No, he doesn't even have a melee weapon. Oh, they took away his pistol as well? They honestly took away his... Do you remember his melee pistol? I was thinking, oh, well, he's got his pistol. No, they took away his pistol. Or is it only a regular apothecaries that get the pistol? Phil, coming in with the super chats. Sorry, the gifted subs. Thank you, Phil. Oh no, it's the apothecary that gets the AP4 pistol. So did this guy just never have it? 3-inch range. AP4, 2 damage. I think it used to be better. Phil, thanks so much for coming in with the super chats. I hope you're having a great Father's Day, dude. What do you think about 6 Sangre Guard? Maybe 3 are not enough to tank against tank enemies. I think that if you're playing Liberator Assault Group, you possibly do want 1 unit of 6 Sangre Guard. You probably do want them attached to Dante as well. 3 will not deal with big vehicles. You are right. The 6 are hard to play, though. I wouldn't go for multiples of 6s. I would go for 1 6. Theron says, "Hi guys, is there an updated 1,000-point army list with the new changes?" I haven't done a 1,000-point video for a hot minute, Theron. Gareth says, "I like Art of War, but man, they talk some waffle when it comes to Blood Angels." I think they just... Here's the thing, right? Like, Blood Angels are an amazingly strong army if you can hide all your units all of the time and pick your engagements all of the time. And professional players can probably do that. Standard people like me, no. I always forget 1 unit. I always have a stupid chainsword poking around a building or something like that that can be targeted, and then I lose the unit. And, you know, I guess if you are the best of a best, Blood Angels are a very good army. The biggest change for 1,000 points is the rule of 2. It is the rule of 2 in 1,000 points. Maybe I'll make a video on 1,000 points at some point in the near future. Just I'll throw together the best 1,000 point list I can think of. My problem is I don't really play 1,000 point games all that often. I'm usually always poking at 2,000, right? Okay, sorry, where were we in this list? We were at the 2 units of Sangre Guard, and then vehicles, a Ballistus, a Lancer, an Executioner, and an Impulsor. We got 1 squad of Blade Guard in the Repulsor Executioner, the other squad is in the Lancer. I'm sure you'll rip into the Heavy Intercessors. In terms of what I own presently, my alternative is to replace them.
I have awoken.
Plus the Biologist for a squad of Assault Centurions. I mean, I would probably actually prefer Assault Centurions in any Blood Angels list over Heavy Intercessors with an Apothecary Biologist, because Assault Centurions kill shit. Like, that's going out of fashion. Next, Crystal, thank you so much for becoming a Battle Brother. If you have just been gifted a membership, or you are a new member, if you do ! Discord and join our Discord, we have a members only room. So if you want to come and hang out in the members only room, you are most welcome. Thank you so much for becoming a green name. I do appreciate it. Phil, thanks again for the channel support. You're a legend, honestly. I was looking at the photo of us the other day together, Phil. It popped up as a memory. I was like, time flies, doesn't it? Okay, Nogi says, I'm 17 minutes behind, but after your feedback, I've been thinking of changing the Brutalis for 5 Jump Death Company and the Captain and making some small changes to fit them. Go for it, Nogi. I think 5 Death Company with a Jump Chaplain is a really good option now, and I want to run it. And someone said in the comments earlier today, actually, that they ran the 120 point Death Company with 2 captains, you know, and run 2 squads of them, 195 points a squad. They said that they really performed well. So I think I might tweak my list before Wednesday, and I might do that. So I might run 2. I'm definitely running 1 with the captain. I kind of wanted to run 1 unled to see how it did unled at 120 points. So maybe I'll keep it, but maybe in the future I'll run 2 5-man, each led by a sustained hits captain, because I think that is pretty cool. Pete, thanks so much for becoming a Battle Brother. Same goes, ! Discord, come join us. Yeah, so Heavy Intercessors standing on an objective in the middle of the board, holding it by themselves is fine. Just I feel like this 70 points in this Apothecary is wasted points. If I made the swap, that would leave me 20 points left over to give Gift of Foresight to a Captain of the Judisaur. I would like you to hear thoughts on what models to invest in to make this stronger going forward. Okay, yeah, models we could invest in here. That would be cool. That would be a cool thing to think about here. I feel like if you are playing Liberator Assault Group, right? There's a bunch of units that are very good in Liberator Assault Group. They are Jump Intercessors, they are Outriders, they are Impulsors, Blade Guard, which so you already got 12 Blade Guard, you already got 10 Jump Intercessors. Vanguard Veterans are a little tricky right now. They are good now, but they are a little tricky right now because they're probably going to get a new kit. So you maybe don't want to spend money on them. But Outriders could definitely be useful here. You know, if you talk about Heavy Intercessors and an Apothecary, you could take 6, like I would take 6 Outriders over that. That lets you put Outriders onto both flanks. Outriders are actually pretty good for Blood Angels now when they charge, because when they charge, you're going to get 15 attacks at strength 7, -1 flat 2 damage. So that unit can do 30 damage on the charge. That is an 80 point unit that can do 30 damage on the charge at strength 7. I ran them last summer when they only did 1 damage on the charge. They did half their damage and they had 1 less strength. I like them very, very much because they're super cheap. They protect units as well. Like, if you've ever watched any of my streams, you'll see sometimes I'll literally deploy a unit of Outriders, sort of like 90 degrees deployed, in a line, like in front of my Sangre Guard. So I'm basically saying to my opponent, like, there is no way you're going to be able to charge the Sangre Guard. They're a unit of Outriders standing right in front of them, making it just difficult for you to charge them. So yeah, I think if this was me, I would just be like, if you've never run Outriders, they're very good in Liberator Assault Group. I was running some in Angelic Inheritors. I don't hate them in Inheritors, but they aren't as good as they are in Liberator Assault Group, right? So I think I would do that. I think I think the list I made this week, I'm trying to think where it was, but I think the list I made this week had Outriders in it. I'm going to check. Or maybe I was just trying the Vanguard Veterans and the Jump. And the new Jump Death Company. Let me think. Let me just double check. But yeah, I think Double Outriders is good. Because the thing that I always find is in the early game, you're going to lose some units, right? Oh no, I had Outriders. So I had Outriders, like the new list I just made for Liberator Assault Group for this week. I had done, like, it might change a little bit, but I was going to do like 5 Vanguard Veterans, 9 Sangre Guard, 3 Outriders, 10 Death Company, 12 Blade Guard, 10 Jump Intercessors. Right? So it's like, I think Outriders are always useful. Even if you just sit them on an objective at the side of the board and they just hold that objective for the whole game, because they're T5, they're a bit better at like dealing with indirect fire. They're OC2, which means they usually hold it against a 5-man squad. What did I get for Father's Day? I got a couple of cards. I got some chocolates. And I got a bluey snow globe. My daughter was very pleased to give me a bluey snow globe. It's got Bandit in it, and I'm always teasing her that, like, Bandit's Bluey's dad. If you don't know Bluey, maybe it's a good thing, but I know Bluey. We've gone and seen Bluey live. Alex, thanks so much for the super chat. Models to invest in. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to wait, Alex. I think it's a good idea, but I think we have to wait to see what. There's 2 things. Are we getting Codex Space Marine 2.0? And what does the 11th edition starter box set look like? We all know Bluey. Yeah, Bluey. Let's not sing the theme song together, shall we? I'm actually getting pretty good at singing some of the Disney songs like off by heart. I'm almost at the point where I can do the rap from Moana off by heart. You know? I think that's when you know you've watched Moana too many times. My daughter asks for movie nights, and she just wants to watch the same movie again. And it's like, there's like 1,000 movies on Disney Plus. Can we watch something different? No, we have to watch Moana for the 15th time. Yeah, okay, so heavy interest. I would add 2 squads of Outriders here. If you don't, I feel like Vanguard Veterans would be a good thing to have in your repertoire, but we don't know if they're getting new kits. You've already got Infiltrators, you've already got Incursors, that's all good. You've already got the Impulsor, the Ballistus Dreadnought, the Lancer. You don't mention having any of the specific Blood Angels characters. Could be worth grabbing a couple of them going forward. Dante's always useful. Dante is probably the most useful. If I look across the last edition, Dante is the one character that I've had in my lists a lot. I've barely fielded Mephiston. I've fielded the Sanguinar, I can count probably like 5 times. Astrath I've fielded like once this edition. Lamarthas I've fielded a few times at the start of the edition. So Dante probably next. Dante and Outriders. That's probably where I would go with this. I feel like those characters as well are not going to be Legends, and I think that is an important factor, right? Like, you don't want to buy something and it goes to Legends. Moana rap video when? Yeah, I mean, no. Enjoy it, they grow up. Yeah, I know I need to enjoy it more. I think it's hard to enjoy it though, right? When little voices ask you the same question 15 times in a day. Like, I try and enjoy it, man, but like, it's tough, right? It's tough, I get it. What do I think about Impulsors? I love them. My last Liberator Assault group list had 2. My Angelic Inheritors list had 1. I honestly would probably be willing to even to run 3 of them. I think they're really, really useful. I think the points you pay for them, they usually always get that much value back out of them, right? Alright, Archon, good day. John, here's my submission for this week's Army Showcase. It's a bit of a memey inheritors list. I've named Got to Go Fast. All the squads are led by characters for all the rerolls and the fallback and shoot and charge. The leaders are captains and Dantes with Sangre Guard, jump chaplains with Vanguard vets, Inquisitor is for the heavy intercessors, and then chaplains for the normal intercessors. The plan is to plonk the heavy intercessors on my home objective, run the normal intercessors and impulsor towards the middle, and sticky things while trying to pounce on the enemy with the Vanguard veterans from Deep Strike. Okay, so it's going to be a crap load of characters. Dante, 2 captains, a chaplain, 3 chaplains with jump packs, and a combi weapon lieutenant. You've got those 5 heavy intercessors that are going to sit on his home field. I mean, if you're going to sit 5 heavy intercessors plus an Inquisitor on your home field, I feel like you could just do that with infiltrators for, like, considerably less points, right? Like, infiltrators will just let you do that for 100 points rather than put your 100 plus the character. So, Outriders do... Worst Mentos says, Outriders get shot to pieces, right? Like, I can honestly remember... So, I've been playing Outriders this entire edition. Ever since Sons of Sanguinius got that buff to +2 strength, right? That's when I changed my list. So, it's probably like 15 months ago now, right? And I want to say... I run 2 squads of Outriders a lot. And I want to say that in, let's say, 50 games, like 50% of the time, I will lose a squad of Outriders in turn 1, right? But here's the thing. If the enemy has committed a lot of their forces forward to kill a single unit of Outriders that cost 80 points, I feel like I will take that trade 9 times out of 10, right? There's very few games where my opponent commits early. Like, I've had games where Angrons jumped in to kill Outriders, you know, because they were sitting on a side field objective, and then I just literally turn all my last cannons to Angron and just blow them off the table. I've had games where other factions have, like, deep struck units, like drop pods and stuff, to get rid of Outriders on objectives or on a flank early in the game, and it's like, if my opponent is committing serious units to kill Outriders, bear in mind, like, point for point, you're only paying like 26 points for a toughness 5 4-wound model, right? That is like, point for point, that is pretty low. Toughness 5, 4 wounds for 26 points. And, like, I've had games where, like, Death Guard have jumped onto the Outriders. They've only killed, like, 1 or 2 Outriders. I'm like, holy crap, they, like, moved all their units into terrible positions where I can counter on all of them. And you killed 50 points of Outriders? Like, I'll take that trade almost every single game, right? So, I'm not saying Outriders are amazing, but they're a unit you can put in a position where, like, if my opponent needs to make a play to kill these Outriders, I don't know if I care, because the Outriders cost 80 points, right? Like, it's nothing. It's like, sometimes in a game, you're going to have an objective that's in the open that you need to put a unit into the open. Well, I'm pretty sure if you put a unit of jump intercessors into the open, they are dead, right? And they are 10 points more expensive than Outriders. Whereas Outriders with a toughness 5, maybe there's, and you know, statistically more wounds as well, right? 12 wounds against 10 wounds. Toughness 5 against toughness 4, and they're 10 points cheaper, right? So, like, if you're going to have to put something out into that objective that needs to survive or do an action, statistically, your Outriders are a better choice, right? Because they got more toughness, they got more wounds, and they're 10 points cheaper. Yes, they might die, but the fucking jump intercessors that you can't afford to just die will also just die, and they're more expensive, right? So, Outriders are an interesting one, and you'd be surprised, like, people, I feel like people are, like, yes, Outriders hit pretty hard. 15 attacks at strength 7, 2 damage. I think people are scared of, like, people will commit to kill Outriders. Like, you can almost use that against people, because they're fast as well. I don't know what it is, but honestly, Outriders for me, I lose them early game a lot, but I still think they're really valuable. Because if they're killing Outriders at 26 points per model, then they're not killing Sangre Guard at 40, right? Or they're not killing something I actually care about that I actually need to win the game. Like, I don't need my Outriders to win the game. But they will hold me stuff and they will score me stuff. If we have a Lancer or two hanging in the home, would it maybe be viable to switch Infiltrators for Heavy Intercessors? Yeah, I mean, the thing about Infiltrators is they just make the home super safe. I can understand why you don't want to take them, but they do, like, opponents can deep strike 9 inches away and try and make a charge. Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but occasionally it will happen. If your opponent has a squad of Terminators in reserve, occasionally they will just come in 9 inches away and make the charge. The thing about the Outriders is you just can't come in within 9, or you can't come in within 12, so you can't even declare a charge, right? That's what Infiltrators are easy to play. Krychek says you bang on about the Outriders. Yeah, and they die a lot, Krychek. Like, the amount of times, like, when I first started playing Outriders, I kept thinking to myself, like, why am I taking these guys? They're always dying in the early game. But then, I think that's the thing that happens, is it's like, if I get through turn 1, and all my units all over the board are staged to basically be able to, make a jump from an obscure position and make a charge, and it's the unit of Outriders that I've lost, I'm like, I don't care, man. I don't need those Outriders. Like, I've seen people open up on Outriders with fucking las cannons, like Death Guard, Annihilators, like 2 Predator Annihilators shooting all these las cannons at Outriders. Alright, cool, you killed 2 Outriders. I don't care, I'm like, I'm still actually holding the objective with the 1 Outrider, fine. So, sorry, got super sidetracked. I don't think I've... Yeah, so this is all the characters, right? Heavy Intercessors. We've got Inceptors in a 6, which is good for Angelic Inheritors. We've got 3 Sanguinary Guard, which is cheaper now and good for Angelic Inheritors, all led by characters. We've got a unit of Scouts, which is good for scoring. We have 2 units of Vanguard, 3 units of Vanguard, so they're all led by chaplains, he said, to get +1 to wound. Lethal hits on those Vanguard veterans as well. They will only be strength 5, but lethals and +1 to wound. A single Ball Predator, a single Impulsor, and then the Inquisitor with the Heavy Intercessors. So, my opinion of this is it will be average. Because Sanguinary Guard in this detachment do not kill units. They don't have enough tax to kill big units. They do a bit of damage. And having just recently played Angelic Inheritors with Blade Guard, which are strength 5, same as the Vanguard veterans, and have my list had a chaplain, so my Blade Guard had +1 to wound. I do not like strength 5 weaponry overlay, or as a main focus of damage in Angelic Inheritors. Strength 5 is not good enough. Because the second you come into T11 or higher, even with +1 to wound, you wound on 5s. Wounding on 5s is just not good enough. This is Inheritors, yes. So these units, in my opinion, which you're paying, 170 points for, are not good. I literally just played Blade Guard with a Chaplain at a GT. I played against Knights, and I was like, my Blade Guard sucked against Knights. And I played against Custodes. Again, strength 5 with +1 to wound is not good enough against the Custodes. It sucked into Custodes. So I just think that strength 5, even with +1 to wound, is just not good enough in Angelic Inheritors. Strength 7 is such a meaningful breakpoint, right? Like Blade Guard with strength 7, it's just such a meaningful breakpoint. It's just so important, because it just means that +1 to wound, you're wounding anything on 4s. As opposed to maybe wounding them on 5s or even potentially 6s. And also, my opinion of Angelic Inheritors is you need like 900 points of shooting. I'm just going to go out there and say 900 points. My list that I was running recently had about 850 points, which I guess is probably okay. But I still struggled in a couple of the games because, like I said, I was running Blade Guard. They were super not optimal. feel like, and I think I needed plasma inceptors. So I think I wouldn't run this. I think it would struggle. I think the thing that was going to struggle, like, I think these units are all up, like, that's 500 points. I would change all that out for shooting. I would take in some Lancers. I would take in some Vindicator tanks. And then, I mean, the rest of it's okay. Attaching the character to the heavy intercessors is okay. I might try and do that cheaper with the infiltrators. The sticky objectives intercessors is okay, but it's not amazing. The battle predator again is okay. It's not amazing. Angelic Inheritors is a tricky one, right? Because like it's a detachment that makes you think that if you attach characters to units, they will be very strong. And they are strong-ish. But you do need to be able to weaken every enemy unit significantly first so that you can finish them off. Because you don't get that many attacks, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vanguard veterans get 20 attacks. I'm going to check that. It's been a hot minute since I used Vanguard veterans. Yeah, so you get 20 attacks. Yes, they're +1 to wound. But if you fight anything that's T10 or higher, you've got big problems because you're only wounding on 5s. So your 20 attacks, yeah, you've got a bit of redundancy in hits because you get to reroll 1s. So we can do the math very quickly. Your 20 attacks, rerolling 1s to hit, gives you like 15 hits, but then you're only wounding on 5s. Yes, you're rerolling 1s, so you're like a 38% chance to hit or something. So they only have to take 6 AP1 saves, right? So you're paying 170 points. Yeah, I guess there's a lethal hit in there as well. Say 7 then, right? Maybe there's 2 lethal hits, say 8. You're taking 8 saves at AP1 for 170 points. Well, if your opponent's got anything that can do like an Armor of Contempt style ability, or even if it's like a big demon that just saves on 2-ups, you know? So there's a big demon that saves on 2-ups. They're taking 8 saves on a 3-up. Cool. Statistically, 8 saves on a 3-up. They're failing 2 or 3. You're paying 170 points for a unit that can do 2 or 3 damage. At that point, you should just take 10 jump intercessors for 160 points, because they'll do friggin' 5 mortal wounds statistically when they charge. So, you know, you're trying to... That's the problem with Angelic Inheritors, right? You're actually paying like 170 points here for a unit that's statistically going to do quite a lot worse than just 10 fucking bog standard jump intercessors. Before they even swing their weapons, right? They're just doing 5 mortal wounds on the charge. That's already done more damage than these Vanguard veterans, right? So like I really don't rate these Vanguard veterans. And I literally, like I said, I just did the same thing with like Blade Guard with a Chaplain, I guess into the meta that I play, works fine. Blade Guard and the Chaplain in Angelic Inheritors in a tournament, no thanks. I'm not doing it again. Too many bad matchups. The only problem with Outriders is they cannot move through buildings and oval bases. I think oval bases are actually one of their biggest strengths, right? Like I just said, because you can, if you put them in a fucking line, each base is like 3.5 inches. So you got 3.5 inches, 2 inches, 3.5 inches, 2 inches, 3.5 inches. So you're able to make like a 12-inch screen for 80 points. So at the start of the game, if you want to move all, let's say there's a piece of terrain in the middle of the board, and you want to remove all your jump infantry into that piece of terrain, but you're scared of your opponent charging them, right? You can literally just move a unit of Outriders, put them in a friggin' line, and then just put all your jump infantry behind them, and then it's like, okay, well, you can charge the wall, and you can fight the Outriders, which we've already established we don't give a shit about, but all those Sangre Guard and all those jump intercessors and all those like toughness 4 guys that are pretty weak that need to make the charge, you're not going to be able to charge any of them because I have blocked them with Outriders. I'm pretty sure I've shown that on my battle reports before, when I've been like breaking down why I use Outriders and why I think they're so good and why the oval bases can actually be very, very useful. So yes, they suck for moving around buildings, but they're also very good at creating like a screen of stuff to protect. Like, if your opponent's got Angron, right? You know, what does Angron's been nerfed a bit, right? But he was moving like 14 inches. He can get +2. He can get a guaranteed 6, and then he can make a charge, right? So he's moving 22 inches, then charging. I think he can do +1 to charge, probably still. So you need to get your Sangre Guard closer to him, but you cannot be getting charged by Angron because you'll kill all the Sangre Guard. Outriders are just in a fucking line like this, all round the Sangre Guard. So it's like, yeah, Angron can charge you and you can kill a unit of Outriders, but we've already established we don't give a shit about them, right? That's why they're good. Inheritors does not work without a good amount of anti-tank. You are correct, yes. 700 or 800 points of shooting for Inheritors, I think. Maybe even 900 is acceptable, right? So yeah, I think Outriders are a very useful unit. Maybe not for their damage output, which isn't too bad, but I think in terms of just getting bodies on objectives or getting bodies in obnoxious positions, there's worse you can do with 80 points, right? Okay. Next list, Cow. Is that how you say that? I have no idea. I'm going to do a spam list, and then the Death Company captains and the Death Company to try. Ideally, I'm going to use them to help secure my natural before playing around Judiciar and Blade Guard and Cobby Lieutenant. The other captain with one set of Sangre Guard coming from Rapid for free. Dream scenario I can give the free Lance strat or even nade straight after. Lancers only peeking if absolute necessary, but mainly to create dead space line. Everything else to harass, score, deny, except the Calidus to try and make things more expensive before scoring her herself. I don't think I rate the Calidus Assassin anymore. I think she's too hard to use. Hadley, alright, cool. It's your list. Alright, Captain of the Jump Pack, Death Company Captain of the Jump Pack, the Judiciar, and the Cobby Weapon Lieutenant. Alright, cool. So we've kept our points on characters very low. We've got a unit of Intercessors for some stickying. We've got 3 units of Jump Intercessors. We've got 3 of Blade Guard. We've got 5 of Death Company. They'll be with Death Company Captain. We've got the 2 Lancers. We've got 2 little squads of Inceptors. They're both with Bolters. Interesting enough, I suppose, and trying to clear some chaff. You've got Infiltrators. You've got 9 Sangre Guard, all in small squads. We've got Scouts, and we've got a Calidus Assassin. I'd be tempted to run one of those Sangard in a 6, honestly. If you've only got one captain and you're attaching, I think I would maybe attach the one captain to a 6 Sangre Guard and go for something like... Oh, they cost more points though, don't they, in the 6? Son of a gun. How many unique units do you roll in here? They've got the 4 characters, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, that one's led by a character, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. One's led by a character. 15, 16, 17. Alright, you've got plenty of drops here in the Blade Guard, so 16. Yeah, you've got loads of drops, actually. Yeah, I'd be tempted to lose a Calidus Assassin, I think. Like, make your Blade... Yeah, so lose the Calidus Assassin, make your Blade Guard a 6. I feel like the Calidus Assassin's ability to make the enemy take -1 to their stratagem cost, it only works within 12 inches. She's only toughness 4, so she's not got any survivability, really. You want to use her for uppy downy? Alright, well, if you're going to use her for uppy downy, then I think I would try and find the 20 points somewhere else to make one of those Sangre Guard a 6. Because I think the way that I see this list is you've got the 2 Lancers and you've got the Death Company unit. But I think you want like another melee threat, like a big nasty melee threat, which would be your captain plus the 6 Sangre Guard in reserve, which you already talked about rapid ingressing them for free. I think that would be very good. The only other way I guess you can get 20 points is if you lose one of these squads of Jump Intercessors, replace it with another squad of Scouts. Or lose one of these squads of jump intercessors, combine one of these squads together, or just combine one of them together, actually, because when you combine them together, they become 160. Yeah, maybe I combine one squad of jump intercessors into a 10. Maybe they could be in reserve as well for turn 3. So, turn 2, you've got your Sangre Guard coming in. Turn 3, you've got your jump intercessors coming in, or vice versa. And then that lets us get those 20 points to make one of the Sangre Guard a 6. 10 jump intercessors are also a little bit more scary than a 5 from reserve, right? Like, there's a lot of mortal wounds, there's a lot of chainsword attacks. Doesn't she die? Yeah, I mean, that's my problem with the Khaled's Assassin. I think you put her somewhere to deny a stratagem, and then to do that, you need to be within 12 inches and then just kill her. And you've just paid 100 points. 100 points is not worth it to make one stratagem one more expensive. She was good when that shit was global. Now I just don't rate her at all. Could switch out one Lancer for a Ballistus. I mean, you could. I feel like I prefer to keep the double Lancer. I'd be very happy amalgamating one of those squads of jump intercessors. I'd be very happy swapping out the Khaled's Assassin. I actually think because you've got the Judasar and the Blade Guard already, and there are 3, like, they are so much stronger as a 6. Like, fight first 6 Blade Guard is hella scarier than fight first 3 Blade Guard. 3 Blade Guard, fight first. You're not going to want to use stratagems on them when you're only 3, right? We've got that stratagem that gives them an extra attack when you get charged, right? You're not going to want to use that if it's only the 3. You might want to use that if it's the 6, right? So I would do that. I get rid of the Khaled's Assassin, make it 6 Blade Guard. And by doing that, you can change one of those units to Sangre Guards. You actually add 2 more melee threats, 2 more big melee threats at the cost of the Khaled's Assassin. I think I would take that. Aradine, good evening. Salute. We talked at the start of the stream. Salute is not something that Space Marines do. We do like a chest pump, because we're like, I don't know, we can hit ourselves with more force or something. We need to know what this looks like. Like an 07 but for a chest pump. I don't know what we need to come up with something, right? And I actually almost hurt myself actually. I was in the gym today. Don't know my own strength anymore, I swear. Yeah, that's what I would change, Hadley. Do it. Do it now! Get to the chopper! Okay. Looks like a fun list. Yeah, lots of units. And you've got the Death Company and the Sangre Guard and the Blade Guard. And quite honestly, I was talking about this last night. I like Blood Angels the most when you're like... I remember playing in 9th edition and I had a really nice list that had like 1 squad of Sangre Guard, 1 squad of Vanguard Veterans, 1 squad of Death Company. So it was like all 3 of those units were big melee threats, but they were all different and they were all unique units. I really liked that. So I like the fact that like potentially we're getting back to a point where it's like you can have Blade Guard, you can have Death Company, you can have Sangre Guard, hell, you can even have Jump Intercessors and Vanguard Veterans. You have 5 different units you can maybe use as melee threats. So I like that. I like that a lot more than just like, okay, just run 30 Sangre Guard. I mean, I know we can only run 18 now, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? All right, XYX Hero. Big support from Germany. I'm playing a tournament in a few weeks. Here's my list. I look forward to your opinions. Greetings from Germany. Okay. This is actually the old points. Because this guy's only 75 now. Right? No. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Alright. Captain of the Jump Pack. Chaplain with Speed of the Primarch. Dante, who is 10 points cheaper. And a Combi Weapon Lieutenant. Impulsor. 10 Jump Intercessors. 5 Jump Intercessors. 6 Blade Guard Infiltrators. Outriders. Nice pick. I like it. 6 Sangre Guard. They are cheaper. 3 Sangre Guard, they're cheaper. 3 Sangre Guard, they are cheaper. Scouts, double Vindicator. Okay, so it's a Liberator Assault Group with double Vindicator tank. An Impulsor full of Blade Guard. And he's got 50 more points to play with. Well, 50 more points is a company Ancient. 50 points for a company Ancient. He can stand on an objective or you said 80 points cheaper. What else went down in points? Sorry. These went down 40. And then the two characters went down 10, right? 60? So 60 points cheaper. Tech Marine? Tech Marine with a Vindicator tank isn't the worst idea. I would do that, actually. Because the Tech Marine gives you one more drop. He gives you a lone operative that can stand on an objective. And he will... Oh, it went down 80. Oh, well, you can have another unit of Outriders. Yeah, you could do a Tech Marine, you could do another unit of Outriders. You could even give that... If you did the Tech Marine idea, you could give the Captain Gift of the Primarch. No, sorry, Gift of Foresight. That would be okay as well. Yeah, I think I mean, double Vindicator tank, Liberator, Assault group seems to me with... So you're 12 Sangre Guard, your 6 Blade Guard, your 15 Jump Intercessors, your Outriders, your Scouts. The Chaplain's given the Blade Guard +1 to wound and fight first, potentially. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty solid list, right? One Captain's with a small Sangre Guard, Dante with the big one, there's 3 unled. Yeah, I mean, I guess because this was done before the new points cost, he's probably done this without thinking of the Death Company. You know, with 80 points extra, actually, what I think I would do in this situation... 80 points. Oh, it's so close. I was going to say the Death Company. Oh. Like I was going to say drop 4 Sangre Guard. Sorry, drop 3 Sangre Guard, add a Death Company, add a Captain to lead them. That would have been so cool, actually. But you're just like, you're 5 points off and you can't get those 5 points anywhere, I don't think. The only option to get the 5 points would be to lose speed of the Primarch. +1 to the Blade Guard all the time is very, very useful. Yeah. So close yet so far. I mean, the other option I suppose you could do is... the Judasaur would fix it, but I actually really understand the advantage of taking the Chaplain with the Blade Guard with the fight first, right? Because it just means that you never need +1 to wound on the Blade Guard, right? And like every other unit that you've got here wants +1 to wound, right? You know, the Sangre Guard want +1 to wound. The Assault Intercessors want +1 to wound. And because you've got 3 Sangre Guard, yeah, it's so close. The only other option would be to like swap out 1 Vindicator tank, but then I think if you're sold on double Vindicator, you're sold on it. With your extra 80 points, the obvious unit that comes to mind is Outriders. It's so annoying that you can't take 5 Death Company. Still waiting for the Judasaur with the jump pack. Yeah. So annoying you can't take 5 Death Company here. And attach a character to them. You're just 5 points shy. And you can't. There's no way to get the 5 points. Unless there is, right? Like, so we got 80 points back. And we want to take 5 Death Company with a captain, which puts us at -5 points. So for at -5 points, what if we just change that 10 jump intercessors to 5? And then we have 65 points. What could we actually do with 65 points? Is there anything we can do with 65 points? Again, I come back to, we could do a Tech Marine. He's 55. He keeps your Vindicators alive. He makes them more reliable. That's 2 things that is useful. He has a lot of attacks and he can do actions. Yeah, I think I would do that, right? So you lose 5 jump intercessors. I mean, that sucks. You lose 3 Sangre Guard. But I think you replace the 3 Sangre Guard and the 5 jump intercessors with 5 Death Company, 2 Power Fists, Eviscerators, and the Death Company Captain. They all have sustained hits. I think they do just as much damage as the 3 Sangre Guard and the 5 jump intercessors together, right? And then you add the Tech Marine to keep... Like, the Vindicators need to live. They need to hit. And the Tech Marine... The cool thing about the Tech Marine is he's a lone operative, so if the objective is near a wall, he can step out onto the objective and stay within 3 of the tanks. And then he can potentially be lone operative and hold an objective as well. And the tanks inevitably die, and when they do, he gets like 9 damage to attacks for 55 points, which is generally very good. Like, you'd be surprised at how much shit Tech Marines can kill when their vehicles start dying. Like, they are very good when the vehicles start dying. I mean, alternatively, you've got 80 points there. I just put in another unit of Outriders. I think that would be totally fine. You could even put in another 3-man unit of Blade Guard just to shore up somewhere on the tabletop. This is a decent Liberator Assault Group list. I'd play it. Alternatively, another option is you could just add another jump captain to attach to the other 3-man Sangre Guard, so all 3 Sangre Guards are attached by characters. That would be fine as well, right? It gives them more strength on the charge. More strength on the charge is usually meaningful for Sangre Guard. They go to strength 9 in Liberator Assault Group, while with Knights coming down in strength... Sorry, with Knights coming down from toughness 10 to toughness 9, that could be meaningful. ATV with Outriders... I don't really ever... I think if you're going to include an ATV, I'd probably just have it as a solo thing, doing a solo... You know, I wouldn't attach it to the Outriders. I don't think it adds all that much to them, right? I think ATV's more like a 8-wound action monkey that occasionally gets to shoot a multi-melta. Is Death Company without the captain the worst try? I'm going to try him. I'm going to try them this week, hopefully, on the channel. Serenade says ATV is the action monkey unit. There you go. Okay, so last list for tonight. This is my first 2,000 point list of Blood Angels. I have no other Blood Angels models. I am a noob, so I apologize in advance for the layout. I think this is French. I don't speak French. Let me know if it's too balanced or if it's not focused enough. And it's probably too character heavy. And he is from Scotland. Okay, cool. So we've got... I was going to say... It's probably too character heavy. I thought for a second he only has 2 characters. Like, what are you talking about? It's too character heavy. He's got the old points cost here as well. So Dante becomes 10 cheaper. This lieutenant becomes 10 cheaper. We have a captain. We have a lieutenant. We have an apothecary. If that's all the characters, that's probably not too expensive. Or too... we've got 2 small squads of Sangre Guard. They came down a lot of points. They are now 220. Is that right? Wow. Jump intercessors... 10 Death Company Marines. They'll be on foot. 6 Blade Guard on foot. 3 Inceptors. I assume you've got Plasmas. But, I mean, I guess either's probably fine. You've got the 10 Hellblasters. You've got a Land Raider Redeemer. You've got Outriders. You've got 18 points. Where do I go next? What do I need to buy? You need to buy a lot. Let me just be real. You need to get to Element Games if you're in... it's perfect, you're in Scotland, right? So you need to use the link in the video description to buy all your stuff from Element Games, because you're in the UK, you'll save like 15% at checkout. So, Element Games, right? That's where you're going to need to go. What you need to add to this list is... Yeah, it's a lot. You probably want to consider Gladiator Lancers. I think they're probably going to be the future. You probably want to consider some impulsors. They're probably going to be, I mean, impulsors are very good. They've been good for a long time now. Death Company Marines on foot do not get a ton of play. Apothecaries do not get a ton of play. Hellblasters in Liberator Assault Group really don't get much play either. And the Redeemer actually doesn't get much. Yeah, like half your units have kind of fallen away from being competitive for Liberator Assault Group or for even Blood Angels, right? You're going to need... I think I would start with like a box of infiltrators. You can buy infiltrators, and in the 10-man box, you can make 5 incursors, 5 infiltrators. I think I would start there, because you're going to need both squads probably. Incursors are always useful for scouting, for +1 to hit, and infiltrators are always good for deep strike denial and protecting the board, or screening your board. So a unit of infiltrators is going to be very useful. I think you want to get a couple of impulsor, at least one impulsor, at least one gladiator. You probably need some more jump intercessors. I don't want to, like, if we just want to bulk to 2,000 points, if that's just our aim, I guess we can just do the 1 squad of infiltrators. But yeah, Hellblasters just, I don't think, are good enough in Liberator Assault Group. I mean, nobody plays them. And Death Company Marines on foot, nobody plays them. I mean, you could get some Death Company with jump packs, or you could get some jump packs to give to those Death Company Marines. Chat, help me out. You need some more anti-tank? Yeah, I mean, that would be the Gladiator Lancer, probably. Ballista Dreadnoughts, that could be an option as well. Yeah, if you buy the Gladiator kits, they can be used as impulsors, so don't necessarily buy the impulsors, buy the Gladiators. 3 more Inceptors would be 120 points, that's true. Yeah, Ballistuses, Gladiators that can be built as impulsors, infiltrators, incursors. You actually have no scouts as well. Scouts are very, very, scouts are one of the best scoring units, so you probably need a squad of scouts as well. So at minimum you need the box of incursors / infiltrators, the box of scouts, and a lancer. So that's the 3 things I would buy, right? Infiltrators, and you want to make 5 of them, and you want to make 5 incursors from the box. The Lancer, Gladiator, you want to make it as a Lancer / Impulsor, because you can do that. And then you want Scouts. You need Scouts. So, I mean, that's like $150, and if that's me, that's going to take me 3 months to paint. So, come join our live chats, or come join the Discord, and once you've done that, we can tell you what to get next. Cool. So that is it for this week's Army Show, episode 197. We are edging ever closer to episode 200. That'll be in like a month's time. So thanks so much for hanging out tonight, guys. There's been a bunch of super chats. There's been a bunch of new members. Thank you. Remember, if you haven't joined the Discord yet, you can do that. Link is in the video description. If you would like to join the members room, you can do that as well if you're a member. If you want to leave your list for a future video after the stream ends, you can just leave it as a comment. I hope you have a great Sunday. Anyone that is a father, I hope you're having a great day. Highland Phoenix, you are a new father. Happy first Father's Day. I hope the little one got you something. Like by proxy from the wife, I guess, right? I hope you're doing well. I hope you guys all have a good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time of day it is. I'll see you next week. On Wednesday night, I'm supposed to be playing World Eaters. I don't think it's double Forge Fiend. Well, it's probably triple Forge Fiend, but I actually don't know what the World Eater's list is. And I'm going to be running a spammy double Gladiator Lancer, lots and lots of infantry, Liberator Assault Group list to get a handle on what that looks like. So I'll be doing that on Wednesday night. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys there. Have a great week, guys. Thanks again for watching. Good evening. Currently listening, holding a sleeping baby. Isn't that... It's a beautiful moment when you can get some me time holding a sleeping baby, isn't it? Smash the like button. Yeah. Like the stream. Subscribe if you're new. I will see you next week. Take care. Thanks again. Bye-bye.